Very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the biggest show, of course, in the country right now. It's called the Farm Drive Show here at Africa Farmers Media, where we connect, learn, and grow. Today, I'll be your pilot and your captain, Brian Wenda. Of course, mbona ngojagi ni kuintroduce?
Siyasema kitu. Ngoja tu. Na ngoja, hata nitulie.
And of course, our super guest here is known as Eli, who is our resident expert, and this is a man who has retried, umepitia maneno.
Nataka kwanza soft life mimi. Mambo ati wanaume ni effort hapana. Kuna.
Mwanaume si effort kila wakati bana. We're coming to an era where inafika point and unaona hard work at some point needs some extra brain. See hard work pekee.
You know the challenge is hard work. Everybody's doing hard work. Everybody's working hard. Everybody. There's nobody who's not working hard.
Kitu ya kudifferentiate ni gani? Hiyo ndo tutaongea sasa. And of course, today we're streaming live at Africa Farmers Media on Facebook, of course. And also, once you go still on Facebook at Africa Farmers Club, we're still streaming live. Ukienda pale YouTube pia, we're also streaming at Africa Farmers Media or A Farmers Media. Once you go to our LinkedIn, Africa Farmers, we're not streaming, but you can always drop your comment. Once you go to Twitter, Afarmers Z with a Z, and the underscore, I'm always told by Joanne to always remember that underscore. And then also on Instagram, it's Afarmers Z with the underscore too. And you can be part of today's conversation because, today we want to acknowledge some of those marketing mistakes that we always make as farmers every time we approach the market. And some of these mistakes, we're going to be told by somebody who has been doing the actual marketing.
Yes.
15 years as a farmer and 15 years marketing.
Marketing, not 15 years. You say 15 years, it looks very short.
Uh-huh.
Every month you market something.
Every month you market.
You have to.
You have to.
One of the biggest challenges, anyway, we'll talk about it.
Yes. And of course, today you can be part of this conversation. Throw in your comment, throw in your like right there. You can share, of course, the link that you're having. You can also get to bring in more people to watch and understand and learn from this conversation today because it's going to be heavy. I've interacted with this man and I know it's always hard to exhaust what he has gone through. Like anyway, before then.
Yes.
How was your weekend, by the way?
My weekend was good. Fantastic, Abisa. It was very nice.
Uh-huh.
Very nice. Apart from, I'm still recovering from the issue of having lost some of my items.
Uh-huh.
This weekend was nice. I slept for 6 hours on a Sunday.
6 hours?
Yes.
Normally what? Okay.
I don't sleep on Sundays, man.
What's up?
Mwanaume ni effort. Nimekatai maneno. I put off my phone and slept.
Why?
Just to recover. Everybody, as I was telling you, everybody is working hard. Everybody is running.
Yes.
So you have to ask yourself, will I keep on running, or will I take some time, I chill out, kidogo, recover, and then start again?
Yeah.
Yeah. Very important.
Yeah.
Very important.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Of course, during the weekend, of course, a few things have been happening too.
Yes.
Mzee alienda, and now we've been rejoicing him over the period. Do you have something to say about Mzee before we can move on?
No, I think he was a visionary. I think he did a lot of good work.
Yeah.
One thing that I always look at him as a leader is the power of delegation. The guy understood what delegate is. You would never hear him talking about any ministry. Never. He would just talk about the government policies and what government was doing. But you not hear him talking about, there's a dam somewhere, No, he just... I'm not saying that he was the best, but in terms of leadership, I think he did a very, very important role. He played a very important role. And some are for him. I'll talk about probably the agriculture sector.
Yeah.
I think he tried to revive. I remember he pumped in, I think it was 500 million in Mumia's sugar. I don't know where that money went. And then
He
he tried even he also was a peaceful guy. I remember for him to even have accepted the first handshake, I think he looked at what peace in the country would play an important role. In terms of politics, I don't know. I'm not an ardent follower in politics. But when it comes to, I think, working effectively, I think he was a good guy. Because one thing that I saw that was very interesting is that he appointed older guys, his age mates, in his cabinet. I don't know why he did that, but looking at it critically, I think they had so much more to offer than probably the younger guys. Yes. But again, at that time is when fertilizer prices started shooting up. Anyway, wacha tumkumbuke, we pray for his family as well. Yes,
absolutely. Thank you very much. At least you can learn delegating jobs from the man.
Abo bado sijafika.
No worries. And actually, of course, he's being viewed today. His body is lying in Parliament today, and people are paying the respect to him. State of the you know,
state value.
State value. State value. Right, absolutely.
Yes.
Now, today, I want us to talk about what are some of these mistakes we farmers are making. In approaching our markets. And I know you're boiling to start off. I don't want to give you that chance to start off. Where are we getting it wrong? From what stage?
Number one, we are not marketers. We are producers. We are producers. At the moment you take another role that you've never studied, you've never understood it well, then automatically you lose out. Remember, to start a business, for business to even be noticed takes 3 years. So you starting production, you've not done it for even probably a year or two, then you're going to the market. The market is a totally different industry. Because you're talking about competitors, collaborators, logistics, coercion, there's bullies, there are brokers. So when you go to the market, there's all these things that you need to look at. But what happens is that the biggest challenge that we have is that we do not know how much we've produced. That is the beginning. Because if we don't know how much you've produced, you will not know your cost of production really well, and you will not know your pricing.
All right. Let's understand what we are producing first.
Yes.
Are you talking about the amount or the quality?
Both.
Quality and quantity.
Yes. Today, if you ask a farmer who is growing watermelon, how many plants does he have? Very few tell you that. The other thing is that, so if they let's even talk about maize. Maize is easier. If you ask an average farmer how many plants of maize they have on their farm, they will not tell you. So you will end up having cost of production that you cannot quantify. And remember, what you can't measure, you can't manage.
True.
So when you go to the market, what normally happens is that farmers are the only people who ask, "Mnanunua na ngapi?"
Farmers are always seeking prices
always
from
asking,
intermediaries.
exactly. So that's already where we're going wrong.
But I'm looking at this case scenario of maybe 1 acre piece of land with maize. I'm doing my rough estimates. There's the standard that I should have. 1 acre of 1 acre piece of land should have roughly how many, for example, how many cabbages?
Should give you around 12,000 cabbages, depending on the sizing.
12,000.
Yeah, depending on the spacing.
The spacing itself. But then you're going to look into. There has been reports, of course, about different farms. That people are under planting. And also at some point also there are other cases of over planting too. What are some of these risks of not going by the parameters of 12,000 pieces of cabbages? Nikipitisha hapa niko na hii risk, nikireduce hapa niko na hii risk nyingine.
You see, when you squeeze them, you don't get averagely good sizes of heads. So meaning you won't be as marketable as someone else. If you oversize, you'll have a lot of space that is not being used. And that means if you are doing irrigation, you'll be watering empty spaces.
Yeah.
If you're doing smaller sizes instead of the advised sizes, then what you'll be doing is that you will be using less nutrients, less resources, and expecting better. Okay? So this goes into now the education point of view. And you find that one of the challenges farmers are facing is that, number one, you don't test our soils. So if you haven't tested your soil, then whatever quantity of fertilizer you're using, you're either using more or less. The next thing is, what is the average cost of production per square meter?
Yeah.
And not per acre.
Per square meter.
Yes. So that is what you have to factor. So you factor and say, per square meter, probably I should have 9 cabbages if you're doing a spacing of 30 centimeters, which you shouldn't, which probably 1 square meter should have like 4 cabbages. 4 to probably at most 6 cabbages. Then you extrapolate that into the number of square meters that you need. But even going into an acre, you need to ask yourself, who am I growing this for?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that you have to go to the market first, but it's very important to understand when will I harvest these cabbages. The when then dictates what variety you will grow. Because there's some cabbages do well when it's very hot. There's some cabbages do well when it's cold. Where is the place that I'm planting? So that becomes one of the problems. There's cabbages that we will grow here in Kitengela, but you cannot grow it in Machakos.
Oh, what is the difference?
The weather patterns are different.
Some cabbages do require more amount of water.
Yes, at specific times. And there are some which are drought tolerant. Yes. So those are some of the things. So going back into the the mistakes that we start doing is that we plant the right seed in the wrong soil.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Another example is maize, probably. You can even touch on it. Maize, you need close to 22,000 to 24,000, probably roughly, plants per acre. And if you are to do that, then you do amount of fertilizer that you require. You realize you require double of what we are used to. We are used to 1 bag of DAP, probably 1 bag of CN, probably, or urea. But you see, 10 grams per plant, it means that you already need 200 kilos. So these 200 kilos, it means you need 4 bags. Otherwise, you realize that what you are doing is that you are reducing feeding. The crop will not get as much food. The output
reduced too.
Yes.
Let me ask you. I want us to go down a little bit more into each crop, into how you've interacted with it.
Yes.
And let's start with the most emotional one for you.
Watermelon.
15,000. Oh, watermelons.
Cabbage. Cabbage, I'll tell you.
Cabbage.
Cabbage, I'll tell you.
What's your story with the watermelons?
You know, watermelon is a very interesting crop. And for me, it has worked. It has been a double-edged sword. It has worked really well, and all of a sudden, again, nothing.
Bittersweet.
Yes, I think after the break, I'll share some photos. Let me tell you, there's a day I planted cabbages. Watermelon. Tukapanda watermelon hapa Kamulu. And they did really well. But the challenge is that I did not know how to detect watermelons are ready. So one day, my guys tell me, "Hey, boss, have you got market?" I was like, "No." Why? You need to come quickly. And they're not explaining it properly. They're telling me, "Hey, easy. Tumeamka asubuhi, shamba ni red." So I'm wondering, what do you mean red? So they said, and that time I don't think there was WhatsApp. Was it WhatsApp there? Probably, no, I don't think it was there.
So there are no pictures of you.
So there are not really pictures. No, it was there. WhatsApp was there, but funny, I don't know, for some reason, those days, data, I think either data was expensive or something. So they could not explain to me. So I sent a border guy to go to the farm, take a photo, and send it to me. So he sent to me, I saw some watermelon have busted.
Wow.
Because they're beyond the limit. Watermelon is water. So the longer it stays, it starts busting. Most crops, cabbages, watermelon, stuff like that. So I hurriedly got a buyer. My favorite market has always been City Park Market.
City Park Market?
Yes.
What does it offer?
They buy almost everything at close to premium prices.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why? Because the Marikitis, everybody goes to Marikiti. you have to be in Marikiti at 11 p.m. for you to sell at 6 in the morning. Because you have to get parking in the strategic place. You know, you have to identify the right brokers.
Yes.
And then even to understand the pricing. And then everybody brings to Marikiti. So City Park Market at that time was fetching better prices. So I got a guy. And he convinced me that he'll buy at 45 shillings per kilo. No, it was 35 shillings per kilo, yes. So mimi nikaenda, I hired a truck. We had around, I think it was close to 22 tons of watermelon. That I'd really tried because it was my second time to grow watermelon, and that was 1.5 acres. No, close to 2 acres. So 22 tons of watermelon. When I harvested, I harvested everything. You know, you don't harvest everything.
Zenye zimepasuka pia.
Hata zile ndogo ndogo.
The
average you're getting 8 kilos. Stuff like that. So together City Park Market. Tukafika City Park Market around 3 in the morning. It was around actually 2:30 in the morning. And packed the car. You know, we've hired a truck that was supposed to take things back to Mombasa. So we've hired it. So that it bebe haraka haraka asubuhi to release yerudi. So what we did is that we packed. Ikafika around 4:30, people started coming to buy because City Park Market serves a very big network. Parklands, Ngara, you know, such kind of actually markets that are actually supplying more of the Asian community and stuff like that. When Marikiti in story.
That's why it's giving a little bit of premium.
Yes. And then it's also a bit peaceful. Hakuna commotion mingi sana. Yes. Where Brian?
Yeah.
So the buyer tells me, the broker tells me, now what you do, wewe kaa ndani hapo kwa gari mbele. Because if these guys see you, they won't buy from you. They'll know it's a foreigner. So let me sell. Give me one of your vijanas. Ule atakuwa anapima, wanauza. Where? Kumbe these guys, even the way they weigh, you know, there's like a long piece of wood, ama chuma. They put the kick up of the basket. Then they put the watermelon to weigh. Kumbe when they are weighing this thing, somebody is pushing it up.
Wow.
So you've measured average 8 kilos per watermelon. So you put average of 10 watermelons, it should be 80.
Yeah.
But it's coming to like 65. Seriously.
So kuna jamaa huku
amesukuma
anafanya vitu huku nyuma. Anafanya bottom up.
Bottom hapana.
Alikuwa anafinya huku juu, huku chini.
Anainua kidogo. So when it's being weighed, you're right 60. You know, that's all 20 kilos. And we had agreed very nicely 35 shillings per kilo. So it reaches around 5:30 going to 6. The guy comes and tells me, "Bana, hii bei haizikubali. Wamekataa kabisa. They're buying at 17 bob."
Kutoka 35 bob.
35 shillings.
That's half.
Half. And he's already given out some, by the way. He's given out, I think, like 2-3 tons to some of the guys buying. So I tell him, no, apparently it's not possible. Because if you do that mathematics, even the cost of hiring the truck, plus fuel, plus so much, you can't break even. By the way, you cannot break even if you're selling less than 20 shillings per hour. You can't. Unless you've done 20 tons per acre, which is close to impossible. So what happened is that now I told the guy said, apana. So I told him what you do, whatever you have taken, just return. Now I was annoyed. Or you pay at 35 shillings.
Yes.
So the guy struggled with his Kiswahili kidogo, and then he said, no, you know, what we'll do is that I can send you later on. No, just give me the watermelon. So he said, in fact, there's even another truck that has come from Uganda that is selling at 15 shillings. I told him it's better you buy from that guy.
Yes. That's better.
So he paid for around some tonnage that he had taken. Nikasema, what's the worst that can happen? Let's hit the road.
But ilori bado inangojwa.
Inangojwa.
Inaenda Mombasa.
Inaenda Mombasa. Hey, Brian. I started selling watermelon. I was a watermelon hawker for 2 days.
2 days?
Yes. We left City Park Market. Tukaingia Ruaka. From Ruaka. At that time, that road had not been fixed. So we had to come back from Ruaka and said, you know, there's this road going to Thika Road.
Yeah.
We had to come back now to City Park Market. Traffic imeanza ya asubuhi. We went to Juja to Thika Road, all the way to Githurai 45.
Yeah.
Tukapita, tukarudi Thika Road tena, tukaingia mpaka Juja, tukaingia tukauza Juja Thika. We reaching Thika saa 6 mchana. Sasa tukaingia mpaka there's a place called Makadara hii in Thika. Is it Makadara Thika? Hapo ndio nauza. Then we started coming back, because if you go back towards now Ngoliba, utakutana na wakulima
wanaingiza huko.
So tukafika mpaka hapa Kenol. Now we started coming back. Tukakuja tukauza Ruiru kidogo, tukaingia from Ruiru njia kwenda Limuru. It was around saa 9 jioni, saa 10. So tukaona we'll stay in traffic. So this driver had to even call the owner of the truck and tell them, by the way, there's a guy who did this, who hired the truck, na because mzigo wetu kwenda Mombasa haiko tayari. Lakini mzigo yake haijaisha. We had to go back. We went back to the farm because kuna zile zilikuwa zimebaki kidogo. We tuka park pale Roy market, a very big market by the way. Tuka park hapo, ikafunikwa, then had to go back home. So nikaenda home kurudi asubuhi 3:30 in the morning. Tukarudi. Left my car there, tukaanzia Njiru. No, tulienda mpaka Tala. Tukauza Tala. Yes. Tukaanza kurudi, tukauza Njiru, Kasarani, all that way. Do you know that 7 tons had to be taken to Mombasa?
Wow.
Where would I have taken, by the way? Tukakuja mpaka Mlolongo. That Kitengela was not very busy. Nikamwambia jamaa, weka mzigo yenu na hiyo 7 tons wewe enda nayo. Ukipata wateja wewe niuzie ukituma pesa.
Let me ask you.
Yes.
In all this hustle,
yes,
waking up 3 a.m. in the morning,
yes,
kupitia hizo market zote, convincing people who wanakuambia hata supplier wangu yuko mbali. What was going on in your head?
Number one, I was very anxious because watermelon is a serious thing. Watermelon, if you delay with it, you lose everything because it will burst. It will burst. What's it nikwambie? So some of it I took like around 2 tons. Sharing the photo later. Nikaziweka kwa nyumba. I don't know if I've ever told you this story.
No, but
nikakomboa nyumba pale Malaa after Kamulu Joska there. A room nikakomboa, nikaweka hapo, nikachukua sodas nikaweka chini, nikaweka watermelon, nikasema acha hizi tutauza kidogo.
Why do I feel as if I know where this story is going?
Way. Let me tell you. Afadhali hata ningezikula ama ningetengeza juice. At around 4 in the morning, not around 3:30, the neighbor who had, umekomboa ile duka mbele, tumeifunga vitu ndani. Because now usiku imefika, nobody buy. I mean, it's a small town, you don't have your own transport. Nikafanya nini? Nikaambia jamaa, wewe nisikizie in case hata nikamwachia kifungu. In case somebody asks for watermelon before nifike, wewe fungua tu.
Funguo mpatie.
At 3:30 the guy calls me and tells me, are you sure mkufungia mtu huko ndani?
Mbona? Anasikia tu.
Seriously. Amkufungia mtu ndani hapa. I was like, no, we did. There's nobody who locked there. I'm the one who locked. And the last, I even have the picture when we were locking. Akasema, no, there's some very funny noise going on here. So I started panicking. Uzingizi yangu ilisha 3:30, my friend. I lost sleep from 3:30 until I reached there. So I told this guy, just open and check. He was like, hey, hapana. Hey, whatever is going on, kama some things are busting. You know, watermelon, it's ripen. The flow to make a soda so conducive environment for it to pasuka.
Yeah.
Ati alikuwa anasikia tu seriously. Do you know that we lost close to, I think, 200 watermelons in that apple? Ilibidi because I was reaching there at around 7:38 in the morning. Kufungua ilikuwa kama a brewery. You know that sugar fermentation. Alafu tumeitoa kwa shamba. We harvested, the challenge we did that we harvested during the day. So it had got its heat. Watermelon is best what is it called, harvested very late in the evening or very early in the morning. Alafu unafunika juu na majani. But this one, you know, they're already now hot.
Yeah.
Zikeko kwa
that makes sense now.
My friend, it busted. We lost. In fact, tulikuwa tumeanza kupeana watermelon.
Wow.
Yeah, because now we had to sell it at really throwaway prices. Though there were very many lessons that I learned from there is if you are a farmer, if you don't understand the market, don't take your produce to the market.
Actually, yeah, that was the next question I wanted you to tell me, because I know you sat down with yourself, troubleshot, you know. Oh, you know,
Alan Nisemas tells them, so I will not grow watermelon again. But we are farmers, we always go
let's
and
go
buy the
down,
next day. The next day I bought seeds. You know, we are not prepared for the market.
yeah.
We are prepared, and we are accustomed very well for production. That's why you find farmers are saying, when you post a good picture of a crop, they ask you what variety. You get the scenario? They don't ask, how did you find the market? What is the current market prices? And then the demand is we have very demands. It's not the same. It's not like you say watermelon, it will be this price. No. And then we have different people. We have very many meats. At that time when we were growing watermelon, that was like, I think, 8 years ago. The demand was for big watermelons. Okay? But slowly, then we realized that the population is changing. Because the big watermelons was good for if you have a family of many children.
Yeah.
But these children, 3-4 years later, are now staying on their own.
Yeah, the family.
You know, you're in high school, 4 years later, you're staying alone.
Yeah.
So you cannot afford a big watermelon at
Yeah.
probably 30 shillings per kilo, 8 that's to 40, no.
Uh,
You prefer a smaller one at 100 bob or 200 bob, just a small, medium one.
Yeah.
But now the big ones are the ones that are being bought by who? The guys who are cutting slices.
yeah, the ones being bought by vendors.
Those are the guys who are buying these things.
Yeah.
Now you're getting, now you need to ask yourself, am I growing for this guy who's going to cut it?
Yeah, yeah.
Because you cannot, and then they buy the rejects. Because unajua wameshapiga hesabu, wameona hii watermelon itatoa 20 slices. Each slice I'll sell at 10 bob. That's 200 shillings. If I buy this watermelon at 50 bob, I've broken even. So hata hiyo kapati meoza akitoa akitupa, America. So then they buy rejects.
Wow, interesting. You did learn a few secrets, of course, a few mistakes that you did.
Yes.
First, going full blown into a market that you're not so sure about. Second thing, at least the harvesting time was quite a thing also.
Yes.
Is there any other trick that you did learn in the process when it comes to watermelons?
Yes. I don't grow more than a quarter of an acre. No. I don't. I do quarter of an acre. After, when this ones have germinated really well, the crop is doing well, I do the other quarter of an acre. So that at any given time I have some watermelon I'm selling, and I can control the quantity that's going to the market. Yes.
And in terms of planting, you've just mentioned in terms of sizes, you're targeting different vendors.
Yes.
And also different people.
Yes.
In this quarter of an acre,
Yes.
how do you plant? What's your planting pattern?
What I do is that, for me, I do maximum size, plant to plant. I do on a bed, because we do on drip irrigation. I do a spacing of 1.5 meters, 1 meter to 1.5 meters, because we plant on every bed. But the best is to do probably 1 meter and then 2 meter. 1 meter plant to plant, 2 meters row to row. But I reduce that because I've made sure that when the planting that I'm doing, I don't have to skip a bed.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I do is that I make sure that I know which variety, I'll tell you about another variety I planted. Ukulima, character development, my friend. Now, I make sure that the feeding is really done really well, because watermelon is a very sensitive crop. Very sensitive. By the way, watermelon, if you don't have bees around your farm, don't even plant.
If you don't have bees around my farm.
Without pollination, watermelon can't do well. It will not do well at all.
Is it so heavily reliant on pollination?
Yes. Actually, most fruit crops. Yes, and even if you don't get if the pollination is not done really well, you'll get deformed fruits. Some of the fruits will be deformed because the pollination was not done really well.
Right.
Yes.
Oh wow, interesting.
Yeah. So the quantity, I don't do as much as I used to do. Long time I used to do even 3 acres, 4 acres of watermelon. Hiyo ni vituko. Hiyo ni cinema.
Let me ask you, before we can take a short commercial break, how did you start in terms of size?
Yeah, there's a variety I started on watermelon. I planted Lahat F1. If you go to my Facebook page and search for Lahat, in fact, if you Google
Lahat.
google.co.k and Lahat F1, I think one of my photos is there. That watermelon was I think 14 kilos. And I planted a small area. I was just testing. I bought some, when you start farming, you plant cauliflower, spinach. Sometimes you intermix.
Yeah.
Because you see, I planted onions here, it's not doing well.
Yeah.
Wacha niweke kitu ingine. Hiyo kitunguu napeleka nyumbani. Then these onions that I planted next to the watermelon did really well. Watermelon did really well, but now they're fighting for nutrients.
Yeah.
So what happened is I sold a few, but most of it we ate. Because now I had a very small car, so I couldn't carry watermelon. You can only carry like 100, not even 100 kilos, probably 100 kilos at tops, because they're sensitive. They're bulky.
The bulky. Yeah.
Yes, the bulky. Sasa hawezi enda kugonganisha.
Kusikia huko nyuma.
Yes. And funny thing, watermelon, by the way, another thing the brokers did to me. You had my friend. So what happened is that sometimes watermelon, even zikigongana, there's a way that it sounds when it's ready. So zikigongana, that we call it imelala. So now that one's already spoiled. You can't sell it in the market. So when brokers realize that you are aware, what they do is they want to test and see. They want to frustrate you. When I piga hivi. When I piga inalala. So they know that we are in hasara. It's really frustrating. So when it comes to marketing, you need to understand who are you growing for, and it might not even be like the specific customer. You just need to ask yourself, who am I growing for? Who else is growing at the same time? What quantities do they bring to the market, and what is the growing environment? If I know that Mpeketoni, Uganda, sana Mpeketoni, Uganda are growing watermelons today, I'll wait for a month.
After they have, of course,
yes,
been in the market.
Because Mpeketoni, 65 days they're in the market after growing. Mine will take 90 days. Meaning I can't compete with them in the pricing.
Wait, 2 months?
Yeah, 2.5 months.
Wow, interesting.
In fact, probably 65 days, 70 days. Because see, number one is that the soils are very good. So root penetration is steady. It's a bit sandy as well. That is Lamu, Mpeketoni, that area. Then the other thing is that it's humid. It's humid, so it's not direct heat. Meaning, what happens is that they are they tend to have better growing environment. Then the forest around that area full of bees. So you see now the mechanism.
Yeah, the ecosystem just comes together.
If Loitoktok is planting watermelon, Loitoktok, Rombo, that areas, don't compete with them.
Actually, I have some question for you here. A very interesting one. But then I'll ask you after the break.
Okay.
But then it's about tomatoes.
Okay.
I want us today to review some of those crops that you've had to sell in the market.
Where?
And your interactions with them.
Tomato karibu nitengeneze tomato paste.
From the watermelon, can we lock that conversation right
watermelon, now? I think what you do is that understand who else is growing.
Yeah.
So when I talk about watermelon, you need to understand your competition.
Yeah.
Standard. If you know that there's watermelon coming from Uganda or from Mpeketoni, or don't go to the market.
And that is what happened to you.
Yes.
A Uganda one came through.
Yeah. For me, it was a broker who lied.
Because
eventually he called me the next day and told me, by the way, can you deliver 2 tons somewhere in Roy? I told him, yeah, but I'm selling at 45 shillings.
So
I still sold to him. You are gonna makasiriko. Yeah, I still sold, but I sold him at 45. Di biashara?
Yes.
Yes.
Wow, thank you. Let me ask you, 15 years in farming, and close to 16 right now.
Yes.
What do you understand by hard pan?
Hard pan is a very interesting thing. You know what happens is that we always grow crops, and this is very especially for people who are doing drip irrigation. You realize that when you're coming to now start weeding or kulimia, what happens is sometimes wanalimia juju. So below where the root formation has been done, it becomes hard because when water, you see, rain-fed farming water tends to penetrate. But for drip irrigation, for it to drip and to hit 10 centimeters is not easy. Unless you unafungulia maji mingi sana. So what happens is that now the soil below it, below the roots, start becoming hard. You know, sometimes you get cracked soil and stuff like that. It becomes hard. And in that process, when it is hard, the roots cannot penetrate
inside,
especially for things like watermelon is a culprit. Tomatoes not so much, but chilies, capsicum, things with the taproot becomes of a challenge. So what happens is the nutrients have been locked under the pan. So the soil becomes exactly. So the nutrients that are down cannot. The roots cannot access the nutrients.
Currently, the country is facing some serious rain.
Yes.
And some places are prone to flooding.
Yes.
And above that also, waterlogging. And these waterlogging cases come about with hard pans.
Yes.
Right? And of course, your plant is not accessing nutrients from the soil.
Started growth.
Yeah.
Yes.
And of course, hapo ndo stress inatokea. And once your crop is stressed, one of the best products out there that do help you plant, at least, ensure that the root density is not compromised.
Yes.
At such a time, is Mega KLP from Omnia. Mega KLP from Omnia ensures that first your root density grows even more, because they say a healthier root density ensures that your roots can take up more nutrients and water from the soil. And of course, above that, it does ensure that the process of photosynthesis still continues, even if your plant is still submerged, still continues. And of course, that is one of the best ways of treating stress on your plant.
Yes.
And just like any other farmer, we say crops do get stressed.
Yes.
But then there's always a solution.
Always a solution.
Right there.
Yes.
From Mega KLP from Omnia Nutrology, you can always ask for Mega KLP from Omnia at the nearest agrovet.
Yes.
You can also, ask a few questions at the social media platforms closer to you. Omnia East Africa.
Yep.
Of course, drop your question right there. And if you're already watching us, why don't you even drop a question right there where you are right now? And you're going to, of course, pass the message to Omnia.
Yes.
Of course, they say they understand the science of planting, of course, and of growing.
Yes.
Of course, we take a short commercial break. We'll be back with Mr. Noah, who is going to tell us about the tomato journey. And one of the main reasons as to why we're even watching this show is because of some cabbage situation. This man is going to tell us so much today. We'll take a short commercial break. We'll be back with more.
Amaranthus, or locally known as terere, is a highly nutritious vegetable that is cultivated and consumed as a leafy vegetable in many parts of the world. It's easy to grow, matures fast, as it takes an incredible shorter period than most traditional crops. There are many species of Amaranthus, with some green and others red in color. When growing Amaranthus, ensure the soil is well drained and rich in phosphorus, and most importantly, ensure the seeds are well distributed to achieve an even spread when establishing a green Amaranthus field. Amaranthus is especially loved for its tender leaves and for their healthy dose of ions, vitamins, and a range of minerals. Celery is a marshland plant that comes from the same family as carrots and parsley. It has long, firm and pale green fibrous stalks and grows in bunches of approximately 8 to 10 centimeters. The stalks taper into leaves at the top. When planting celery, it's best to ensure that the soil is enriched with compost and with a soil pH of between 5.8 to 6.8. It is also important for celery to grow in moisture-retentive soil. Lastly but not the least, select a site that receives full and direct sunlight. Celery needs about 130 to 140 days to mature between seedling and harvest. Growing celery is generally considered to be an ultimate vegetable gardening challenge. It's easy to grow, but has very specific needs.
Sukuma wiki ni aina ya kabichi isiyoumbwa kichwa na inayoliwa sana katika Afrika ya Mashariki, hususan nchini Kenya. Inatengenezwa kwa kutumia majani mabichi yanayopikwa, lakini sukuma wiki inaweza kutengenezwa pia kwa kutumia aina nyingine za majani yanayofaa kupikwa.
A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the biggest show here at Africa Farmers Media. It's called the Farm Drive Show. Well, I wanted to say this is the biggest show, but then I thought, okay, in as much as we would love it to be the biggest show,
Yes.
we have very many other big shows around here,
Yes.
and this is just one of them.
Yep.
And of course, every morning you're always locked with Joanne and of course Mercy in the the breakfast show. They get to talk to you about policies, things affecting you as a farmer, the well-being and everything around that. Of course, once it's 11 to 1 p.m., you have Shajara with Diana Mudega. She's, the queen of Kiswahili. Waluya sijui. But also, Luyas always know how to talk good Swahili.
And cows.
It's easy for them to use a word like ndiposa.
Ndi is part of our vocabulary.
Ndi.
Yes. Ndi it's hi. How are you? Yes.
Of course, thank you very much. Of course, that is Diana coming through. Of course, with the Shajara show. It's always in Swahili.
Yes.
And she loves what she does. And then the big show here, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Of course, is the Farm Drive show, and that is where we are today, talking about value addition and everything affecting post-harvest practice. And today we can never have somebody better to talk about today's topic, other than Noah Naseli.
Yep.
15 years.
15 years.
Trying-
Kwenda sokoni.
Kwenda sokoni.
Hata niliwacha kwenda sokoni, my friend. I stopped. I wait for the market to come to the farm.
Yes.
Ah,
Ulichoka tu.
kabisa. These markets don't appreciate. Hata tulifungua grocery.
But then what was... we're going to talk about that soon enough. Because I've always wanted to know the experience of running a grocery.
Yes.
And if it's a viable option.
If you're not farming.
If you're not farming,
Yeah.
as a business,
Yes.
that's a different entity by itself.
Yeah, just like now you see the moment you open your grocery, you're competing with Naivas and Quickmart and all the other supermarkets.
Yeah, that's your
And
competition.
Mama Mbogas as well.
Yeah.
And Mama Mbogas, they offer after sale service. Wanakukatia hapo cabbage haraka haraka, hivyo wanakupakia, unaenda unapika.
Unajua hawana rent.
Hawana rent, exactly.
So the pricing
Hawana stima
is more
nini.
competitive.
Yeah. You want to sell to yourself. So you want to sell to someone like you. So
Yeah.
extra costs.
All these things. I did see also some groceries did, of course, grow during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Hata yetu we set up at that time. 2 weeks later, lockdown. Just to get a license for a farmer to deliver kunde too from
License.
here Kikuyu, it was a nightmare. Nightmare, kabisa. Not Kikuyu, hapa Kenol,
Hapa Kenol hapa.
because they couldn't cross Thika.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And that's when government policy hits you.
To get the essential license certificate.
Yeah.
Was not a joke. We had to apply through Kenyan National, what is it called? KNCCI, Chamber of Commerce.
Yes. The Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industrialization,
Yes.
right?
So we had to apply to that to get license. Yes, they gave us, but it was after a hassle. We had to pay. You know, those all those certificates going round. You see, at the end, even if you have the certificates, then you need to get a certificate for the vehicle that you will use. And if you don't have a vehicle as a farmer,
That's another
you'll
downside.
be getting a sticker for a car that a pickup you'll never use again, probably.
Actually, yeah, that's it.
Yes.
That's lazima uandike number plate and stuff.
And because of
Well, that was then. And of course, years later, we have learned very many lessons.
Yes,
And
yes,
we've talked about specifically watermelons and where we go wrong as farmers before planting, actually, during harvesting,
yes,
and even approaching the market, different styles.
yes,
And now, I want us to talk about one of those hearty conversations that, are always closer to you.
yes.
What
Tomatoes.
Tomatoes.
Well, tomatoes are an easy thing to grow. In fact, I think one of the easiest things to grow is tomatoes. Easy. But the market for tomatoes is dicey. It's tricky.
Let me ask you this question,
Yeah.
because I don't understand why we don't break even with tomatoes. Highest returns,
Yes.
easy to plant,
Yes.
but
Marketing.
accessing the market is hard.
Oh.
Lakini sahi, okay, wewe bado ununui tomatoes.
Yes.
At least you're doing something else.
Yes.
Mimi pale jioni pile nikiwa naenda kununua tomatoes, I'm told haziko market, and why is the disconnect?
The disconnect, and that's the disconnect that we'd never understand. And that's why I say when it comes to marketing, going to the market, achia wenyewe. You as a farmer are growing tomatoes. You want to sell it at 40 shillings. The market is probably buying at 60. You might not be able to sell at 40 because the person who's buying from you, lazima anunue, lazima package, alipe cess, atafute mali ya kuuza. They won't sell through the kwa gari, lazima atafute soko. Kwa hiyo soko kuna ile kanjo, city council have to pay you have to pay for kanjo, those kind of things. Then that's when you realize, there's a big problem. And when you're growing tomatoes, one of the challenges actually, Brian, for marketing fresh produce is not one of the challenges of growing tomatoes is not the market. It is the process between your farm and the market.
Intermediaries or what?
Just that process. Will you transport to the market? Nilipanda nyanya Kamulu.
Kamulu.
Yes.
Kamulu imeona maneno.
Kamulu imeona maneno hata sasa tuliweka tu ndizi. Then it was a very good variety, by the way, and we planted. So we got a lady who buys produce, who has been buying for us for a very long time. And actually, even before that, let me tell you the first story. The first story we planted, it was a bumper harvest.
Harvest.
Yes,
Complete.
I think it was like the first harvest was like 100 crates, the wooden ones. Then it came to 120, 150. What happened is that when we took the produce to Gikomba, Gikomba is like the largest holding ground ya nyanya. Huko nyuma karibu na Bama.
Pale huko Bama.
Unanunua
nyama hapa unapitia
hapo Muthurwa. Now what happened is these guys bought tomatoes from me and they were very surprised. They were like, mbona umekuja kutuharibia soko? I was like, pale nilikuwa najaribu tu. It was around 4 in the morning. So when I reached there, they told me, I was told kuna wazee jamaa wanataka kununua nyanya wanakuwa pale kwa ile kiosk. You know business ya nyanya ni ya usiku. You know people have to buy and take back to the soko zao. So somebody has to come to Nairobi, buy, apeleke Mlolongo, Githurai, places like that. Yeah. And so what happens is that you find that when it talks about market, when you see those tomatoes have been placed really well. Remember this lady or this guy who owns a kiosk has to go to the market in the morning, brings them, azipanguse vizuri, azistock hapo vizuri, so that 9 o'clock the hotels zile zimeanza kufungua lazima zinunue hapo. The guys who are cooking lunch wanaanza kupika saa 4. Yo saa 6 chakula imeanza kuwa ready. Sometimes even saa 5 saa 6 chakula inaanza kuwa ready. Watu wa nyumba lazima wanunue hiyo mapema pia kule wapike lunch. No, see they buy at between 10 and 11. 10 and 12. Yeah. Even the households. So that they have it ready.
By one at least.
Urudi kwa soko twice once. So lazima kumeenda marikiti nini, umenunua, umepack, umetafuta the best deal, unatoka by some moja hivi na nusu, saa 2 umetoka. Because remember you are going back again, you'll still get traffic. So ka 2 hours on the road, back, you anze hiyo shughuli. So these guys called me and told me, hey, kuja. So they told me, kijana kapo. I was still young. I was younger like than you those days. So they told to me, come. So I was like, what are these guys telling? Because me, I used to go to the market early. By 4:30 nimemaliza, na change, naingia job. Yeah, because now I couldn't go back home nimbali. What happened is, they told me, bana kijana bana unatuharibia soko. I told them how. But you know, hii kuleta mali hapa na hiyo bei yako ni nini? Unatuharibia because sisi tunataka kununua na hiyo bei yako kwako tuuze. So ukikuja kuuza, if you come to sell at that price, you are training as jobless. And we've been doing this for 10 years, 10, 15 years. So I told them now what you'll do. Because me, I panicked. You know,
what's going on in your mind back then?
At that time, I was thinking, I've heard stories of, you've taken the produce to market, the brokers took, even they harm you. Because you've messed up the day. So I told them, hii lori ni yenu ya hapa tu. Those crates, you know, in tomatoes you hire the crates, I hired the crates at I think at that time it was 50 shillings per crate. So hii mali ni yenu. Ile kitu ni yangu hapa ni nyanya. Since na mnajua hivyo, wacha niwapatie account number yangu. Mkiuza mimi nauzia na hiyo bei ile mnataka kununua. Ile nauza bei, nyinyi mnunue na hiyo bei muuze. So I panicked obviously, but now you know you have to be bold.
Yeah. Nice
struggling, my friend. So I walked out. I expect these guys. I expected the worst, you know. Nikatoka nikaenda. So I left them my number. Nikaenda. At around saa 5, these guys called me and told me, by the way, kuna pesa yako iko hapa. Bado una insist uende tuweke kwa account ama utakujia.
Eka kwa account, my friend. Unaenda kufanya nini huko bana?
Now there was no mobile money then.
Yeah.
So wakaweka akaniambia wameweka. Nikamwambia sasa mnitumie deposit slip kwa WhatsApp. Mtafute njia. Wakatuma. I went to the account nikatoa nikaweka kwa account. Yes guys.
Unaomba reverse.
Reverse bana. Wanasema we deposit the wrong account. What? So but they didn't put all the money. So I asked them, mbona hujatuma pesa yote? Like wewe ukipitia jioni ama sasa unamalizia job, you pass by we have something we wanted to explain to you. So nikaenda tu kimwanaume. Kabisa. But but I said I won't go in the evening jioni saa 11 saa then I'm mchana saa 8 saa 9. And then I changed the way I was dressed nikafika. So these guys told me hata usifike kwa soko wewe tukutane tu hapa kwa marikiti hapa. Kwa nini kwa at that time it was another that now I'm very frequent. It's called Nairobi Farmers. Tukutane hapo ni
kwa Nairobi Farmers. Yes. I know Nairobi Farmers.
Yes. So they told me, and if you're in town, by the way, that is one of the agrovets that you'll get excellent service.
Yeah.
So they told me now, kijana, they're old guys, not very young. They're around like 55, 60 there. At lakini pia mimi naenda huko. Wakaniambia, what we did is that we've put for you money in your account. The other one we've withheld, tumekuja nayo tukununulie mbegu ile utapanda. You get the trick. They're like, the tomatoes you have will buy everything. Even kesho ukitaka, we will come to the nini ourselves, we pack ourselves. So we see what you did, you mixed zile ripe na zile si ripe, sasa zimefinyana, some of it is a waste. So what you do is go and put this in the nursery. But before nursery, tutaenda na wewe kwa shamba kesho. It was a Saturday now. We go to the farm, we show you how to set up the nursery, and we do what? We show you. For the last 10 years, I've maintained friendship with these guys.
Wow.
They taught me which seed variety to grow for what harvesting period. They're the ones actually who taught me how to grow, which tomatoes to grow when.
Ah.
Yes.
And let me ask you, last 10 years,
Yes.
you've interacted with these guys. I'm sure you've had conversations with them.
Yes.
And you've understood that they know what they're saying.
Yes.
Why don't they farm?
They are not farmers. They're not in production. They're marketers.
Because they have so much information then.
You know that saying, inasemanga wahenga walinena. Sindio? How come this wahenga didn't do something we could be seeing now? Yes.
But
so,
then, yeah.
So basically, these guys, they know their position in the value chain.
In the value chain, yeah.
And they know that where they make their money is from buying and selling. Them, they're traders. You are a producer. Produce the best, take it to a trader, let it go.
And now I'm thinking that there is possibility because we farmers do produce.
Yes.
They do sell.
Yes.
What do you think about collaborations between these two people?
It's the best thing that can happen to you as a farmer. It's the best. Brokers will exist whether you like it or not. They will always exist. I know of brokers who go to the border in Namanga to buy onions and bring it. It's not the farmers in Tanzania who sell onions to Kenya. No. It's not the fishermen in China who bring fish to Kenya.
It's Kenyan brokers who go pick them up.
Yes. It's
because
not
the way business has to continue.
Yes. You see, business is controlled by some people. Production has to be controlled by some people. So what you do as a farmer, you make sure that your production quality and quantity is super. You don't need to produce 20 tons. No. Produce 1 ton of premium quality produce regularly. So that these buyers will buy from you regularly. There's a hit and miss. There's sometimes you'll get good prices, sometimes you get bad prices. It is standard. Even supermarkets, sometimes you go and there are no queues.
Yeah.
But sometimes you go and imejaa kabisa. Yes.
What's that one lesson that you learned from the whole experience?
Of tomatoes. Sometimes these brokers that we don't like, interact with them. And they will tell you, for me, I have brokers for close to 17 different fresh produce. And they'll tell you, if I call them now and tell them, by the way, when do I grow tomatoes?
Yeah.
They'll tell me, usijaribu kuweka nyanya sahi. Kuna ugonjwa iko loitoktok na mwea inaingia. Panda kitu ingine.
Very well informed guys.
Kabisa, because they survive on that produce coming to the market. You remember the other day when you were going to Marsabit?
Yeah.
At Moya, you saw the trading going on. Yes.
Yeah.
So so that's why I say for farmers, make sure that your production is super. Don't go into hype at you have to grow the best tomato variety and all that. No. You can grow even the cheapest variety. I know of a lady just here in Kitengela who plants Kalje. Kalje is the most local of the local varieties. Even her drip irrigation system, she has buried it down. See it here, Ju. She produces close to 6 tons of Kalje. It's very good. Considering the seed is like what? 1,000 bob. So you as a farmer, you're going to buy a seed of 25,000 shillings. If you're going to buy that expensive seed, make sure then you're only growing 1,000 plants. For each plant to give you 10 kilos after harvesting period.
Oh,
You have 10
that's
tons.
interesting.
But you go and plant 10,000 plants.
Wow. Before we can wrap up these conversations about tomatoes,
Yes.
what's that one piece of advice you'll want to give somebody who is trying to get into tomato farming without understating the importance of course, the collaboration and stuff?
The first thing that is very important for tomato is very sensitive to, and it's prone to get infected by fungal infections.
Yeah.
and soil-borne diseases like bacterial wilt and fusarium wilt. So number one, test your soil. Totally. Be ready to make sure that you're watering the tomatoes when they require water. The other thing, make sure you manage. Tomatoes are not like chilies or water or other crops. Tomatoes are sensitive to diseases. When they get diseases, production drops. Automatically drops flowers. It has vigorous flowering. But now when it gets diseases, flower abortion happens. If it gets fungal infections like wilting, it starts drying up, so production is low. The other thing with tomatoes is that it's very hard for you as a farmer to grow tomatoes without challenges. So make sure you know how to prevent the challenges. Yes.
While visiting the market?
While visiting the market, don't go to visit the market when the tomatoes are ready. You will not sell. Utatengeneza tomato sauce.
What time should I do that?
If you've already planted, go to the market when you see the flowers transforming into fruits. When you start seeing little buds coming out, go and start asking yourself, what is the best tomatoes? Which tomatoes are here in the market? How much is the price? Because 1 month, prices of tomatoes shift totally. So make sure every week during flowering, you are actually in the market identifying. And at the same time, also understand your costs. Something that's very critical with tomato farming is the cost. The cost. Tomato, the better you feed your tomatoes, the better for you.
Yeah.
Because you see, you need at least every cluster to give you between 4 and 6 fruits. So 4 and 6 fruits at an average of 100 grams per plant. That's half a kilo. So if you have 1,000 plants, you have 500 kilos.
Well, before we can wrap up,
yes,
this conversation that you've always been advocating for, about the specific varieties for specific markets.
Yes.
Well, even before I can plant, what should I consider? What should I consider? And what's the process of consideration? Targeting different markets. Yeah,
for example, if you're growing in Kitengela, Kajiado areas and all that, make sure you're getting a variety that does not that is a bit tolerant to diseases, because we have harsh weathers.
Yeah,
the weather pattern, Kajiado, Machakos, the dry areas, the weather pattern is very harsh.
Yeah,
you can imagine, like now it had not rained for so long; it was really dry, and then it rains once for 3 hours. It means that the challenge of water is going to affect the crop. And when it affects the crop, you'll find that now you start getting some rotting. It's called blossom end rot. The tomato is very good, but at the end, it's darkish.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's blossom end rot because of irregular weather patterns. Too much water. Then when it comes too much water, sometimes affects calcium levels. Blossom end rot doubles. The moment you have blossom end rot, you can't sell that tomato. So that is very important. The next thing is also to understand: am I going to sell these tomatoes to somebody who is going to add value? And add value, I mean even cooking. There are some tomatoes that when you eat, it's even sweet. You know, smoky pasua.
Yeah. Of course, we have to know.
If you make a mistake of eating putting tomatoes with your smoky pasua, that the tomatoes is bitter.
Hey,
tosha.
Utakula
stock. Then the other thing is, if you also have tomatoes that the rind is soft, transporting to the market, problem. Storage post-harvest, problem. When you're harvesting also, you need to make sure that you're harvesting tomatoes when they're not very ripe. In fact, when I eat a rangi ya maembe, it's not yet ripe, it's just about to turn.
Yeah.
So that in the process of being transported to the market, that's when it turns. Nobody wants to buy a red tomato. You want to buy orange. It's a bit orange.
It's a liability.
Yeah.
Wow, interesting. At least today we're learning so much. I'm also trying to learn so much. Because, for example, the one for visiting the market at least a month before, 2 months before.
Yes.
It cuts across the board in very many...
all crops. Everything.
Yeah.
Even in your personal, if you want to go and sell something to somebody or pitch, you don't go to a company and pitch today.
Yeah.
You go there and pose as a customer.
Yeah.
You go there and understand. Hey, sometimes you even go and just sit in the reception there and say, I'm waiting for somebody. And then you see who is the boss, which guy comes in. Now I'm selling my trade secrets. You go to their website, you go to you check their LinkedIn profiles. You know, hey, who is who? What are they doing? What do they like doing?
Yeah.
So when you're going to pitch, you attract the right guy. So you go early in advance, go and check it out. Hey, okay,
Yeah.
They say even when you want to marry, what do you do? Let me see if you
maneno.
Hapana bana. You go and become a friend to a guy in that village.
Oh.
You get a guy in that village. Watakwambia hapa, huo si mbaya. Lakini hujaangalia dada yake. So even when you're going to the market, you might, like for myself, Roy was the biggest market. But I rarely sold my produce in Kamulu, in Roy. I used to go all the way to City Park Market. In fact, the ladies there, one sent me a message yesterday like, do you still have your big holes? Because now the population has transformed. The bypass has transformed. People are moving there. They want also big pilipili hoho. What they get is very small. So you need to know, I have big hohos. My hoho moja is 250 grams. I cannot sell in Roy because they're saying that those are too big. Because these people understand the buying patterns of your buyers as well. Because they're those ones who buy in kilos and sell per piece. So you see, if they're buying small hohos, they can be able to sell 1 or 10 bob. But if they're selling, small hohos is like what? Like 8 mega kilo. 8 or 6 mega kilo. But if you sell to them 3 that are making a kilo, it means that they can't sell it at 50 bob. You can only sell at 10 bob.
Yeah, but it does make sense right now.
Even onions. You'll be surprised, Brian, that majority of people who buy onions don't buy the big onions.
Starting with me.
Yes.
Nataka kununua kadogo ili ni kasilale.
Hawezi kala kitungu ilale.
Yeah.
The whole house will smell onions, my friend. And then the other thing is that you also need to, and that will now start telling you, do I need to buy the hybrid seeds that are very big onions? Or do I buy the smaller ones, medium, the local variety? You see, now you're making a well-informed decision. Yeah. And it will take you 2-3 seasons before it gets there.
By the end of this conversation today, Mr. Noah, I want to ask you one question.
Yes.
That you need to prepare for.
Yes.
What is success for a farmer? Is it the size of production? Is it making maximum profit? Is it, large tracts of land, Is it the value that you put in your farm? I think different farmers will have different says, but then we want to get your perspective today.
Okay. So
absolutely. Yep. Before we can take a short commercial break. We are here to remind you that before you can go to any agrovet and of course buy the pesticide from any agrovet right there and transport it back at home. It's always good to first ensure that in that small kalagi that you've been given in terms of pesticide, it's kept far away from food. That's one thing. It's standard. Hata ukienda pale supermarket, I'm sure sabuni weko kando na food.
Exactly.
Yes. They wrap up.
Yes.
Well, it does ensure that you do not suffer some of these spillage problems and stuff.
Yes.
Always ensure that the lid is also tight enough. And also while transporting, always make sure that even where it is far away from children. Because, well, the last thing that you want is damage. You bought the pesticide, and now you have a kid to take to hospital.
And explain why you left it open.
Yeah, explain why you left it open.
Yes.
Of course, and many more other things that you need to always ensure.
Yes.
Even while applying, always ensure that you have the proper attire to always go out there and ensure that your crop is well taken care of in terms of the pesticide side of it.
Yes.
So this message is brought to you by UNIDO, of course, in conjunction with Markup. They say the Obora Mazobora. You as a farmer is well now educated. We take a short commercial break. We'll be back with these big questions that we want to ask Mr. Noah. And then the last crop I would want us to think about, the product. You've talked a little bit about this one, but then I want us to get the inner story, the cabbage story.
Yes.
Because for a long time, we've been told as farmers, contract farming is a sure market. But at some point, contract farming can be an unsure market.
Not can. It's always. I've
always.
Very rare success stories. Anyway, we'll talk about it later.
We'll talk about that.
Yes.
We take a short commercial break. We'll be back with more.
Mahindi yamekuwa chakula kikuu katika sehemu nyingi za ulimwengu na jumla ya uzalishaji wa mahindi kuliko ile ya ngano au mchele. Mbali na kuwa mahindi ni chakula, pia hutumiwa kutengeneza ethanoli, chakula cha wanyama na bidhaa zingine. Kunayo mahindi ya gume, mahindi ya ganda, yani popcorn, mahindi ya unga na mahindi matamu. Mahindi yanalimwa sana kote ulimwenguni na kiwango kikubwa cha mahindi hutolewa kila mwaka kuliko nafaka nyingine yoyote. Shamba la mahindi linaweza kutayarishwa kwa kutumia njia za kawaida au za kilimo cha uhifadhi. Kilimo cha kuhifadhi ni pamoja na kunyunyizia dawa za kuulia wadudu zilizopendekezwa na wataalamu wa kilimo. Unaweza kutumia trekta au njia ya mikono kufanya kilimo cha mahindi. Ni muhimu kuandaa ardhi mapema ya kutosha kuruhusu magogo kukauka na kuoza kabla ya kupanda.
Very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the final stretch of this show. The show is, of course, the Farm Drive here at Africa Farmers Media, where we connect, learn, and grow. I've been your captain, Brian Mwenda. Of course, I don't know if I will call you my co-pilot.
Yes,
but today you've carried the the bigger part of today's conversation. So jamaa ndo wako kwa ndege leo. Is the man flying you?
Me, I'm the guy who says turn left, but you turn it.
Absolutely, no one has 15
Yes.
years of experience as
Yes.
a farmer, visiting the market every day.
Yes.
You've seen farmers make mistakes.
All the mistakes.
You have seen also yourself,
Yes, I've made many mistakes.
many mistakes while,
Many.
of course.
Yes.
But again, as you keep on saying, man has always to wake up early in the morning and again, ensure that you still continue with what you do,
Yeah.
and love what you do.
Yes.
Yes.
If you don't love what you do, achana nayo kabisa.
Chana.
Kabisa.
Somebody told me, but if a day ends without you laughing, that was a wasted day.
In fact, we stop doing what you do.
Chana.
Kabisa. And you don't have to love every aspect of what you do.
Yes.
But you need to love the bigger aspects of what you do.
Yeah.
For example, I don't enjoy writing reports.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy writing reports.
Yeah.
I don't even enjoy sending quotations.
Yeah.
But I have to do it.
But you have to do it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So you have to love what you do
Yes.
and master it
Yeah.
really well.
Yes. And welcome back, of course. Today's conversation is all about some of the mistakes we farmers are making while approaching the market, right from when we're putting that seed on our soils. According to what I've picked up from today's conversation, is that the marketing thing starts from planting, right?
Yes.
And of course, today we've talked about, the tomato market and where to get it right from. We've also talked about the watermelon market and where to get it right from. And now I want us to talk about the cabbage market. And to even put some more salt on this conversation.
Let me adjust my mic. Well,
Is to bring some salt into this meal.
yes.
Is that it's a contract type of farming.
Yes.
Yes.
Let me tell you, Brian.
Yeah.
People have read that story. That story has been broadcasted and it's been covered across the world.
Yeah.
The story of my cabbages. But that's a very small part of my failures as a farmer.
Yeah.
And a very small part of what farmers actually face across the world. Cabbage farming is not farming for everybody. Even the most experienced farmers, sometimes they really shy off from cabbages.
Why?
When the cabbages are ready, you have to sell them, all of them at once, for you to make money. All of them. The other thing is that there are some farmers who actually grow, cost of production of cabbages might go as low as 8 bob. So you find that this is a crop that well-established farms can decide to crop rotate with. Okay? So them, they know that it is what value it is adding to them.
Yeah.
And they make sure that they sell their cabbages at less than 10 shillings per piece. And they've planted close to 200, 300,000, 400,000 cabbages.
What are they doing? Because they are more competitive than the smallholder farmer.
And that's what I'm saying. Jaribu sana. Possible. If you are in production, master production. And master it really well. You will not see farmers from Delamere Farm coming to City Park Market to do what? But when you're passing there, you'll find so many trucks. They've parked outside Delamere waiting to buy the cabbages. Yeah. Understand the market, because cabbages is something that is very bulky. Cabbages is not something that you will sell to everybody. I mean, you cannot eat cabbages 10 days a week.
Yeah.
And even if you eat 10 days a week, you need to ask yourself, okay, which cabbage will I eat? I mean, sorry, how much quantity will you eat? Your cabbage yaribiki.
Yeah.
I don't get no cabbage mzima weka nyumba hapa yaribiki. You don't need to put it in the fridge also.
Yeah.
Unakata kidogo, it doesn't shrink like
sukuma. Yeah, but yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And you get cabbage probably about 50 bob, 60 bob, sometimes 20 bob. You can even get cabbage at 15 shillings. Or you want to come and sell your cabbage at 30 shillings. So this contract I got was to sell cabbages to this buyer at around 30 shillings per piece. Very good contract.
Yeah, that's a very good one, brother.
It was excellent because now I had everything, water was available from the river there, and it was a contract. We signed an agreement.
Were you using furrow?
Yes, furrow irrigation.
And now that's an extra expense.
Yes and no. When you do your furrows really well, because 80% of farmers are doing furrow irrigation. Drip is not, at that time it was very expensive. And then, I was also starting, I did not believe in drip. I didn't have the financial muscle to do drip irrigation. So what happened is you find that particular pit is where we agreed, these are the prices, this is the variety. And then told me you can now grow the cabbages. I planted cabbages, my friend. And I planted good cabbages. They were good quality. I can remember, I think the smallest was around 4 kilos, which is really good, even at that time. So the bigger ones were like around 6 kilos, 6 acres. Cabbages, chini. Where? The lady who contracted me only came and got 800 pieces. Alirudisha pesa ya mbegu. And I kept on calling her, you need to come, the cabbages are ready. She was like, she'll come. But cabbages, when they get ready, mature, and it's the heat of Kamulu, what happens is, they burst.
Busting, yeah.
When they started bursting, I had no choice but to sell cabbages. It was raining, it was around October-ish, and that means that Delamere is selling. So the cabbages were getting into Nairobi at around 15 bob. Where the farm is, it was raining, so I had to hire a truck. It was more expensive to take those cabbages to the market than to let it remain as manure. So I just got some guys to sell. I was carry cabbages. You cannot carry cabbages in matatu even if you are the farmer yourself. Yeah, seriously. I mean, it's the truth. So what happened is I made sure that it was a loss. 75,000 cabbages. They did not know where to take them. Some guys were coming. They buy at 4 shillings, 8 bob because they've had truck. So they're like, we can buy at 20 shillings, but carry for us.
Yeah.
But you see, the cost is very expensive because to hire a pickup, it would only make economic sense to hire a tractor that has a trailer. Because it has rained, the normal cars cannot pass.
That's one, yeah.
That was one thing.
Yeah.
To hire that tractor which has a trailer, remember a tractor, if it plows 1 acre of land in 1 hour, is around what? Is around 4,000 shillings. So you're going to take it for around 2-3 hours. So they charge you 8,000 at most 1,000 cabbages. So if you look at the economies of scale, 20,000 remove 8,000. And then
12,000.
Zingine hawatachukua.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
Wow.
So you're still ending up selling it around probably 9 bob, probably. Yeah.
No, today I want us to look at the story that you left with those number of cabbages, but the lessons that you did learn from there, because 75,000 cabbages, they can pick up only 800 of them, and now you have to start now visiting different markets.
I didn't know where to sell cabbages. Because the cabbages that are coming, the guy tells you that, hey, these cabbages that we're buying from you are supposed to go to Lanet. The military barracks.
Yeah.
And Delamere is in Nakuru, Naivasha. So how they can...
Why come all the way to Kamulu and they can access here?
Yes.
Wow.
You get the scenario?
Yeah.
So that number one, some of the lessons I learned is don't overgrow stuff. That was my second lesson. The first lesson with that growing contract was French beans. I did French beans. I lost 12 tons. Not really losing. The guy who was buying from us was banking with one of the banks that went under receivership. So we lost that money as well.
Wow.
So don't get into the mix of overgrowing. Even if it's a contract, control your growing, depending on how the payment is coming.
Yeah.
If you're planting, plant an acre. See how the buyer is buying. After that, go to plant another acre, stuff like that. Yes.
And let me ask you this question: when it came to watermelons, we did talk about size. Targeting different people.
Yes.
When you talk about also tomatoes, we did talk about different varieties for different markets.
Yes.
What's the story with cabbages? Size? What's that thing that I need?
If you have to grow cabbages, control every aspect of it.
Yeah.
So you need to know who else is growing cabbages at the same time as me. For example, if you are growing cabbages when our good friends are growing cabbages in Nyeri, chances are you might not sell because they're using rain-fed farming.
Yeah.
So your cost already goes high because of buying petrol unless you're using solar. But even if it's solar, there's a capex, there's capital expenses that you invested. You know, which you also have to calculate and see how to recover for after every season.
Absolutely.
So those are the catch. That's the thing to look at. You know? So when you look at that, then you realize, there must be a big problem somewhere, and this problem it's only you to solve. And this particular problem, when it comes to cabbages, is proximity to the market. Number one. The other thing is don't plant more than 5,000 cabbages. Okay, that's my advice. That's what I do. Plant 3,000 cabbages. At most, probably, 3,000 at most. Or even if you can do 1,000 cabbages every 2 weeks. Remember, these cabbages, you'll be able to take care of them really well. If you sell one cabbage at 20,000, at 20 shillings, that's 20,000 cabbages every week. That's 20,000 shillings every week.
Okay.
It is better than 12,000 cabbages going to 1 acre. You stretch your resources, you have to wait for 3 months. But this other one, after every 1 week, you will be harvesting.
Let me ask you this question. When is the right time to approach the market with these cabbages?
Still, for cabbage, it's sensitive, very sensitive. Make sure you're harvesting cabbages when schools are opening, because that's the largest consumer. Okay, that makes sense. Yes. So again, proximity to markets. Market doesn't mean city park market and the rest. It means also the schools. Approach schools and tell them you have cabbages that you want to buy from. You want to sell to them. Then they'll understand. Then you compare the prices. Lazima ongea na bazaar vizuri pia. So that's something else. Schools, harvest of the schools. When it's holidays, people don't eat cabbages sana. So make sure that even holidays, people don't eat cabbages sana. So make sure we are harvesting cabbages around the time schools are opening, when schools are in session, stuff like that. For me, as I've seen, and it has worked for me.
Interesting. What's that one market apart from schools and everything? What's that one market that you can say that you've been happy with in terms of consistency of pricing, even house structures,
for cabbages?
For cabbages.
I can say Bisil is a very good market. Kajiado is a very good market.
Bisil.
Yes, Bisil and Kajiado, because most of the people who buy cabbages cannot buy sukuma wiki and spinach. Yes, they buy, but not at very big quantities for the reasons of they come to the main markets once or twice a week, so the cabbages don't get spoiled. The other market that is really good is Garissa.
Garissa,
Yes. You find that a cabbage being sold in Nairobi at 50 shillings might be sold at 90, 100, 120, 150 in Garissa.
Just one cabbage?
Yes.
So for people around Meru, Meru, Isiolo, on your way to Marsabit, Garissa, you can always look into such
markets. The only catch with that is transport.
Logistics is starting.
That is a challenge. And then you also have to have an insider in the market to tell you, we have not had cabbages. We did not have enough cabbages last week. So when you take it, don't take it the day of the market day. Take it the day before the market day, so that you sell to the guys who will sell during the market day.
Always know it's a chain.
Yes. So make sure you deliver it to. Don't go and say I'm going to sell 150 shillings per cabbage. Go and budget with your mind. Say I will sell probably at 90 bob or 70 shillings per piece. So that you also need to make sure that you're factoring your costs, especially transport costs, especially if you don't have your own pickup or truck. That way, then you realize that I can make 20 to 40 shillings per piece. Most, let's say 30 shillings profit per piece. If you sell 1,000, umerudisha 30,000.
Of course, that's a cabbage conversation.
Yes.
Let's brush over smaller things. Onions. What's that one secret? You talked about size, and it's a consumer pattern that is very close to us.
Yes.
Well,
quantity. Onion is quantity. Reason being, your cost of production of 1 acre remains constant. Whether you harvest 14 tons or you harvest 3 tons. Because you will have planted the same number of crops. What you get out of is the determining factor. Okay? So if you harvest 10 tons, at the cost of production is probably 19 shillings. Probably at lowest is, let's say, 15 shillings per kilo. If you get 15 tons, you're breaking even.
Yeah.
If you get 4 tons, you're struggling. So quantity, quality. So if you're going to have average size of bulbs, average I mean between 100 and 120 grams, like the ones in that picture behind you. 100 to 120 grams per kilo. Per onion bulb. It means in a kilo you have 10. So anybody buying from you can sell it at even 15 shillings.
Yeah.
But if you have 5, it means it's big. Even if you go to supermarkets, you don't get the extra big onions.
Yeah.
If you're selling to schools, get the big ones, or hotels, get the really big ones, because them ndo wananunua kukata na kupika.
Yeah.
Kwa sababu ndogo ndogo.
Yeah.
No. If you're selling to other markets that are busier, Githurai, some parts of Ongotarongai, even Kitengela, you realize that you need even smaller bulbs.
Yeah.
Because these are people who want to buy. Sometimes you get onions at 3 bob, ama 2 bob.
Yeah.
You get a scenario.
Oh yeah.
So you
It's
need
spending power.
Exactly. So the purchasing power is very important where you're going to sell onions.
Yeah.
Remember, not everybody will afford and use tomatoes in their food, but onions is like close to a must.
Yeah.
Don't take onions when guys, our friends nini akina Kwamboka.
Yeah.
Nani.
Yeah.
Not to mention another Zimio up a microphone.
Have mercy on us.
When they're bringing the spring onions to the market,
Yes.
people prefer the spring onions because a bunch is 20 bob and it's a big bunch. Yes. So onions, variety is a must. Soil testing is also good, but I don't think it's as important as the other crops. It's important because of nutrients that you need to put. So onions, yes. Size, quality.
Yeah.
Make sure the onions are really dry before you harvest. If they're not dry, you sell it to somebody or you put it in the store.
Gone.
They start germinating, gone.
Yeah. So these conversations are around onions. Well, one key thing that comes with onions is that even if you have smaller sizes, bigger sizes, still, if they are dried up well and everything is okay, kuna zile zenye unaweza uzia inside, just repurpose the market.
Yes, repurpose the market. But now the catch of repurposing a market, you know, the advantage with onions is that onions you can even sell to nini. You can even sell to your neighbors.
Yeah, you can only sell it. Yeah.
Usukue, don't be shy. Yes.
Oh.
At the end of it all, make sure that there's something I wanted to mention. That there's these smaller things, things like courgette, cucumber.
Yeah, but those.
Those ones, if you're not ready, don't plant. Those things grow every day. So you get a small thing, a small cucumber. Let's assume this size. If you don't harvest and sell that day, in 2 days, you cannot sell. It is big, huge.
And once it's huge, now you have to.
Labda uingie Guinness Book of World Records.
Last thing.
Yes.
Let's talk about that thing that gave you at least your first close to six figures.
Yes.
Capsicum.
Yes.
What's the deal with capsicum?
With capsicum is easy. Make sure you're harvesting your capsicum when it's a bit cold.
Yeah.
When it's a bit cold. And then capsicum they should not be very big in size. They should be a medium size, but the weight should be probably 200 grams. And capsicum is better sold to brokers. I have seen that. Yes, because brokers know how to divide that produce into this market and this market and this market, packaging and taking. Yes. If you can be able to sell your capsicum and any other produce at farm gate prices, you are home and dry.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So much information that we could not Google today.
Yes.
and you have been our Google today. Thank you very much,
Yep.
Mr. Noah.
Yes.
And all the best in your ventures.
Thank you.
And continue all this sharing information.
Your venture, soft life.
Yeah, soft life. Absolutely. Thank you for coming through
Thank you.
this show.
You. Yes.
We love you at this show.
Thank you very much.
Always love guests.
Yes.
So always be ready to share your story.
Safi.
I'm sure you're always a willing man to always talk about what's happening around you.
Yeah.
Of course, for today's conversation, I've been your captain, Brian Mwenda, and there's so much you've learned today. Any last words, Bade?
If you want to go to the market, you need to make sure that you're very good in record keeping.
Ah.
So you check the trends of the different markets and check the prices different markets. And then the most important thing is confirm your cost of production. Make sure that you confirm your cost of production and then multiply a percentage and go and sell.
What's the safest percentage you can?
25%.
25%.
Yes.
Below that,
Below that, you're losing.
You're losing it.
Because there's also a lot of wastage in the farm. Remember, 25% we normally say will either be stolen or it will get spoiled. Kuna ndege, there are birds also that need to eat.
Yeah.
Then the other 25% belongs to the people who are going to buy from you to sell. 25% is yours, guaranteed. Anything above that, sell to end users.
Yeah.
But you see, it's very hard to get an estate that you're going to sell 1 ton of capsicum.
So hard.
Very hard.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you very much, guys. And of course, as I said, for today's conversation, I've been a Captain Brian Munda. And this has been the man behind the wheel today. Rana Ziali,
Yes.
all the best.
Thank you.
And until tomorrow, we say continue consuming information. It's the difference between you and the farmer you aspire to be.